Cut. Hey, how about a round of applause for the best band and spirit squad in the nation, huh? You know, every time I hear that, it feels like there's a game going on, but you know, every day is game day in Friartown, right? Yeah. And if you've ever questioned whether God is a Dominican, how about this, huh? You wouldn't want to be here yesterday, I'll tell you. Listen, my name is Bob Driscoll. I'm the proud athletic director here for 17 years, and this really is a great day to be a Friar because we're about to christen, we're about to bless, we're about to dedicate the Ruane Friar Development Center, which is one of, if not the best, I'm going to say the best in the country. So how about a nice round of applause for that? You know, we had a little snafu early on because Father was supposed to bless the building, but we didn't have the blessing up here. And I knew I didn't know how to do that, so I had to wait until we get it at the end. But I already know that God has blessed this building. Do you remember Wednesday? You remember how hard it rained on Wednesday, right? Well, John Sweetie, my good friend, sent me a picture of a rainbow. And it started at Harkins Hall, and it landed right in the middle of the Ruane Center, right? Father Morris would call that divine providence. Now, I'm a very superstitious Irishman, right? So right away, I started looking at my wish list. And I had two wishes. And I know if I tell you, they will come true. So my first wish is that Ed Cooley is our head coach to the end of time. Huh? Yep. And I think Father and I and Mike Ruane probably have a little bit to do with that, right, Ed? And maybe Nerisse. Nerisse, you good with that? Nerisse is good with it, so it's good. Wives makes the rules, as we know. And my other wish was to win a national championship, right? Yeah. And I can tell you, with this building, and when you go in, it will blow your mind. We have the opportunity not only to continue to recruit great young men like our team over there. Men, wave to the crowd. Thank you for everything you do in Friartown. That's our team over there. Thank you, men. They're up at 6:30 this morning working out hard. But I know that's the reality, and that's what this building means to us. And I wanted to take this opportunity before I introduce Father Shanley to thank each and every person here today. This building is a replication of what Friartown is. Ed calls it us, we together, Friar family. Everybody played a role in that, from our major donors to our students, athletes, faculty, staff, Dominicans, season ticket holders. Where are our season ticket holders? Raise your hand. Thank you for supporting Friartown. Thank you. Thank you. To me, this is a testament that we are no longer that little engine that could. I hate that when people say we're the little engine that could. I want to be a complete jet airplane that just flies in and just rips it apart, because that's what Friartown is. I mean, this is a national profile academic athletic institution, and this is Friartown, and you should be very proud of that. So on behalf of my student athletes and my coaches and everybody that loves Friartown, give yourself a nice round of applause. Thank you. So we had dinner at Father's last night with Mike and Ed and Nerisse, and we had, and Joe Calabria, and we had a conversation about why is this happening. And I can tell you why this is happening. It's because of the people. You've got great leadership from Father Shanley on down to our support system, but it doesn't happen without a president who understands the value that big-time college athletics can bring to a campus. We share the same vision of being most respected, 100% graduation, and compete for championships. And we're going to compete for championships and graduate as student athletes, but we're going to do it with honor and integrity, because that's what Friartown's all about. Father's done an amazing job in this campus. We're really, really blessed to have him as our president. So how about a nice round of applause for the president of Providence College, Father Brian Shanley.
I am so happy to be here today that this is a dream come true for me. And I'm just really grateful to all of you for your support. I've been back. I've been traveling a fair amount since I've been on sabbatical. I was in Ireland last week. But I've been through this building 3 times this week, worried about it being completed. And Mark Raposa assured me every time that it was all going to be okay, and it did turn out okay. And I went through yesterday with Mike and Liz, and this is a high-tech building. When you get inside, there's a cryogenic thing which scares the death out of me. Don't step in there because you may get vaporized. I don't know how it works. There is all these saunas, there are pools. I sat in a massage chair. It was the most pleasure I've had since I've been a Dominican. It was great. These guys have everything they could possibly have. You know, there's high-tech HD stuff. Wait till you see it. But for me, you know, at the end of the tour, the thing that moved me the most is the statue that's over there of Joe Mullaney and Dave Gavitt. And it's a reminder to me of something that Dave taught me a long time ago. Julie is here. Where are you, Julie? Julie Gavitt? Okay, right there. Julie, stand up and be recognized. When I was starting as president and I didn't know what I was doing, and some people still think I don't know what I'm doing, but I think I'm a little better at it, I spent a lot of time with Dave and talking about athletics and what makes for athletic success at Providence College. And the number one lesson that Dave instilled in me was it's getting the right people. And that statue is a reminder that the legacy of Providence College athletics is people. It's people-driven. Joe Mullaney put us on the map in basketball. He was a savant. He just, you know, I remember, and I'm thinking a lot about Father Morris today, whom I miss terribly. And I still remember the story he told me of sitting behind the St. Joseph bench in a game in 1958 where the point guard and the coach were arguing whether we were playing a zone defense or a man-to-man. Because Mullaney had this matchup zone that nobody had before. And he had a genius for basketball. And Dave was a different kind of genius. Dave saw the Big East coming. He saw where college basketball was going. And they were an incredible team. And that is a testimony to the people that have brought us to this day. As beautiful as this building is, fundamentally buildings are houses for people to do their work. And that's what the beauty of this building is. It's the people inside doing the work that they do for Providence College athletics. And I want to recognize Bob Driscoll, who is twice Athletic Director of the Year. You know, Bob and I joked that there was a time when Bob was an idiot. Now he's a genius. Same guy. I've known him, and I've been with him the whole time. He's been an incredible teammate. And the biggest job for an athletic director is managing people. It's not this building, it's managing people. And Bob is an incredible manager of people. He's an inspirational leader, and he deserves a ton of credit for the building that we have here today. So I think we all need to give it up for Bob Driscoll. You know, and Bob, it's a team. It's about us, we together. It's Jill, it's Stevie Knapp, and everybody that works in athletics. And one of the features of the statue over there that you may have noticed is that there's a room for another person on that bench. And as I was walking around yesterday, I go, that's interesting for a statue. There's like an empty spot. And I think for people who visit, it's an invitation to sit down and feel like you're part of it. But don't do it today because it's really hot. That's one of the things we've learned about this statue. Don't touch it today because it gets really hot. But I also think, and I hope and I pray I'm old enough to see this, is that someday there's going to be another figure. Coach Cooley. And if I have my way, he'll be standing with a towel around his waist, with his pants split, in Madison Square Garden, because that's how I will always remember Ed, because I was the beneficiary of the backside of that at Madison Square Garden. And as great as Joe and Dave were, they never brought 5 straight teams to the NCAA tournament. And it's been remarkable what we've accomplished. And as you go through the building and see all the bells and whistles, what I want you to notice, and this is Ed's brainchild, is when you walk into the basketball complex where Sue sits, you'll see a picture of Ed with the guys who graduated last May. That's the opening statement that we make to recruits who come in, is your student athletes, and we want you to graduate. And there are a lot of people that are really cynical about college athletics. I'm not one of them, because I know we do it right. And I know we graduated all of our student athletes last year, and I know that Ed cares about that, as Bob does and all of us here, that we are dedicated to student athletes as students first and athletes second. And that's part of the pledge of this building. And the other piece of this that's really important, and we've talked a lot about this, is student wellness. Athletes are under a lot of stress. And those massage chairs and the cryogenics and all that other stuff, nutrition, everything in between, is a testimony to our care for our student athletes in a holistic way as persons. And this building is going to help make all of our student athletes as healthy and as well as they can possibly be. But the other piece that Dave told me way back when is you got to have great coaches and an AD and great people, but you also need facilities. And we didn't have great facilities when I arrived, and now we have unbelievable facilities, and right now the best in the Big East and the best in the country in this building. And our commitment to facilities has been predicated upon the generosity of all of you that are here today. We made this happen together. You know, you do your, I don't want to invoke Belichick, but since the Patriots aren't doing very well right now, but I'm a firm believer in do your job. And I did my job, Bob did his job, Ed did his job. We did our jobs together to make this a reality today. But again, the facilities don't happen without philanthropy. And we've had an extraordinary era of incredible generosity at Providence College. And I want to thank the Donovans, the Olivers, the Canavans, Joe and Sugar Calabria, and most of all, Mike and Liz Ruane. You know, in my time here, no one has been more generous to Providence College than Mike and Liz Ruane. And at key moments in the history of the college, Mike and Liz have come forward to back the things that we needed to do to make us a great school. We have a building where we were last night for the Science Center dedication, the Ruane Center for the Humanities. There's a Ruane atrium next to the Concannon Center, which was the first big project we did. There are 2 endowed chairs at Providence College that Mike and Liz have given. This was the next piece that we needed to make basketball great at Providence College, and Mike and Liz stepped up to that. And I cannot say thank you enough, Mike, to you and Liz and your family for the incredible generosity, the strategic acumen. I mean, I've known Mike for 20 years. Mike is as strategic a person as I've ever met and as smart a person as I've ever met. And at key moments in the life of Providence College, Mike saw where we needed to move, and he helped us to get there. And today, we stand at the threshold of this extraordinary building that is going to leave an incredible legacy at Providence College. So I want to thank you, Mike, and Liz, and your family. Colin, good to see you again, for all your generosity, and all of you who have helped make this really be a dream come true. So today, Father Morris is smiling down on us from heaven. God is a Dominican, and this is a great day for Providence College. Thank you for coming.
Nicely done, Brad. Great job. Thank you, Father. Great words. And what he said about that massage chair was true. I had my video out, and I like to Twitter, right? I'm trying to be young and hip, and so I took the video of it, and I was going to tweet it, and he said, "You tweet that, you're fired." Cone of silence, all right? Cone of silence. Now, Father thanked so many people, and I just wanted to thank a few more because this was a team effort. I wanted to take the opportunity to thank Steve Frenaris of Perkins, Eastman, and Nick, the design people around this building. This is a work of art. This is just not a basketball facility. So give those folks a nice round of applause. Perkins, Eastman. I also want to thank Brad Dimio Construction and his great team. I walk through that building every day, and they couldn't have worked harder, been more polite. I mean, we kept bringing people through all the time. If I were them, I'd have thrown my butt out. But tremendous, tremendous job. So give Brad and his team a great round of applause. Thank you. We also have some special friends from Nashville, the Advent, Drew and his staff, about 8 of them there. When you walk in this building, we weren't going to scrimp on anything. They just did the Dallas Cowboys. They just did USC. They just did Stanford. And they just did Providence. And those other places are really fortunate to be associated with us now. And I know this was a project and a labor of love. And they came up and we did story mining. And we did some really cool things. So I hope when you get in there and you see the historical perspective, it'll really make you proud, the job they did. So please give my teammates from Advent, where are they, a nice round of applause. They came up with all the families. Thank you. Then I want to thank some of our teammates on campus. I want to thank my good friend and really a visionary Senior Vice President, John Sweeney, and his right-hand man, Mark Raposa. If you look at this campus, it's as beautiful as any campus in the country. And these two guys and their teammates worked so hard to get this done. There's my man, Chris Judge, doing his job. I'm going to have some nice pictures here. But I just wanted to personally thank both of those guys and also Steve Basil and Tom Schenk for just really caring about what we do in Friartown. So please give them a nice round of applause. Great job, man. And then lastly, I wanted to thank my entire athletics staff. You know, I get a lot of the accolades, but I'm telling you, the people that do the work are my people. Every day they're grinding. They love Friartown. They stay in Friartown because they believe in the mission, and I can't do anything without loyal, hardworking teammates, and I love every one of them. I used to be the youngest guy in my department. I'm the oldest guy now, but I'm glad I don't have to raise all my children anymore. We got about 70 kids in the department, which is great. I get to go home at night. God bless you all. But I do want to point out a few people in particular. I want to personally thank Steve Napolillo and his entire team. They raised the money to build this building, and a tremendous group. So thank you, Steve, and thank you, everybody in our group. I also want to thank our great teammate, Greg Waldron, and his staff in IA. The cool thing about Friartown that we are a family, and most organizations, they fight over donors, they don't get along. This organization does. So Greg and all your teammates, thank you for everything you do for us. God bless you. And then I want to thank Arthur Parks and Kevin Kerbeck. They were my day-to-day guys. They walked through that building with a fine-tooth comb every day, and the unsung heroes. Give those two men a nice round of applause as well, Artie and Kevin. And then my two other rock stars, and there's Jill LaPointe, and the list goes on. But Kenny White, when you walk into the weight room, I don't know if you've ever been to the University of California, Nebraska, Oklahoma, our weight room, and I promise you, is as nice and as big time as any in the country. And when you go to the second floor and see John's Taj Mahal, it's great because it's right beside mine. I'm going to fight, Father, for that massage chair. But it is the coolest environment I've ever seen. And Kenny and John worked countless hours to make that happen. So give those two teammates a nice round of applause. Thank you for that. So with that, I'm going to move on to my other teammate, Coach Crowley. Coach Crowley, if you notice, looks a lot like Father Shanley, don't you think? That was one of the big selling points. I said, you could pass for Father Shanley's twin, and when you're walking around campus, that may get you some perks. It may not get you any perks in athletics, but we just got to get you in one of those robes and see if you can pull it off. And they're both sunburning like crazy right now, too. Any sunscreen? Got a little sunscreen. All right. Well, here's a guy, when we look to hire our next coach, we want to win championships. We have the same vision for women's basketball as we do for men's basketball. Graduate our student athletes and compete for championship. Jim is the greatest coach in the history of St. Bonaventure. And when I had the conversation with him, I lived 10 years in upstate New York, I told Jim, I said, Jim, only in New York is not the end of the earth, but you can see it from there. So as soon as his beautiful wife, Monty, saw Friartown, they made the decision to come to Friartown. He's building a great team. He's a great leader and great mentor. So how about a nice round of applause for Coach Jim Crowley?
Thank you. It's truly an honor to be here. Bob often says that I want to call him Coach Shanley. Father Shanley and I look alike. And then I always wonder, Bob claims to be an Irishman, but he doesn't really look like an Irishman to me. We're kind of an indoor people. We tend to be a little thinning up here, and the tan, I don't know where that comes from. So he's from a different part of the island than obviously Father Shanley and I are. But as the new guy, these events blow me away at the incredible support that is here. Here we are on a Saturday, beautiful Saturday afternoon, and all of you came out here to support our student athletes, to support us, and that is an amazing thing. I know you're probably used to it. I am still humbled and stunned by it. It's really impressive to be part of, and very fortunate and honored to be part of this. The building we see behind us is obviously incredible, and you guys will get to see it. But it's not the end. For us in women's basketball and a number of the other student athletes, it's just the beginning of what's going to happen with this and what's going to happen in Phase 2. And we can't wait for what's going to happen with what was the men's basketball hallway and locker room. That'll all become ours. That'll all be put together how we want and how we want to decide. And that's, for us, we know our program is on the rise, because it is. And now we get to add the facilities to that. And that's a great sell to our student athletes. That's a great sell to their parents for what women's basketball means to this university. So for that, I am eternally thankful, and I speak for all of our people in our program. But obviously, there's a lot of thank yous that go into this. Certainly, we couldn't do any of this without the great leadership of Father Shanley and Bob Driscoll. I had a pretty good life at Bonaventure, although it gets made fun of a lot. It was a pretty good deal, and it's a great place. But I could not pass up the opportunity to be with people who have the vision like they do and support our student athletes like they do. Obviously, Mike and Liz Ruane, what they give, and clearly by the number of buildings named after them, they have a little bit of wealth. But what's really amazing is it pales in comparison to the human beings they are. Every time I sit with Mike, I feel like I'm with a guy I've known for 20 years who used to be in out in the blue-collar world that I came from. And that is an amazing feeling. And that, to me, speaks volumes of what Providence is that no matter where you go, it's who you are. It's the people, as Father Shanley said. So really fortunate that not just he has incredible generosity, but that he is such a great role model as a person, he and Liz and their family. I would be remiss if I didn't thank Coach Cooley, and not only his gift to what is going into this, but the way he treats my staff, my student athletes, the way he treats me. Guy calls me randomly, just see how I'm doing. I've known people for 50 years who don't do that to me. It's amazing. And I don't know if you guys, obviously you love what he does as a basketball coach. I don't know if you guys really get that men's basketball coaches aren't usually like this. He is a genuine, authentic human being who, as good as he is as a basketball coach, blows that out of the water with the human being he is and what he does for all of the student athletes and all of this community. You know, John Sweeney, Bob mentioned, when I first got here, I was stunned. I'm like, there's a new softball field, there's a new soccer field, there's a new track, everything was new. I said to John, this is amazing. And I'll never forget what he said to me. He said, when I got here, I realized that we had incredible people. We had to get the facilities to match the people. And not only did he and Father and numerous others accomplish that, but they did it across the board. They did it across the board, and that is really a special, special thing that speaks to the community that is Providence College. I would like to also mention Kenny White, John Rock, and their staff. What they've done and what they've put together is truly impressive, and it's for all student athletes. It's going to be a great facility that everyone will get to use. And this next comparison really pains me because I am an upstate New York guy, so it pains me to reference the Patriots. But in thinking of them, and obviously number 12 gets a ton of credit, but he would not be able to do what he's done without the incredible offensive line that they've had for the run that they've been there. I mean, the unsung heroes are those guys in the trenches who just get it done. And that's Stevie Knapp and his folks. I mean, they just get it done over and over and over again. It's incredible. It's amazing what they do. And I think they need a round of applause for all that they do. So thank you, Stevie, and all the people that work with you. You know, we have a really special student-athlete community here. Jen Cunningham and the great student-athletes on SAC decided that our welcome back student-athlete meeting, instead of being in Alumni Hall, let's use some of these great facilities and go down to Anderson Stadium. So instead of having just a kind of formal meet and greet, they had a quick welcoming where our SAC president, a women's swimmer, gave an amazing talk, and then said, have a barbecue and have, you know, play some games, play some soccer, play some different games. And sitting back and watching all of our student athletes from all the sports smile, enjoy each other, have joy with one another. And you go to any sporting event, there's other athletes there supporting one another. And that, to me, is a great draw of this building and what's going to happen in Phase 2, is when they're in the training room, it could be a tennis player sitting next to a field hockey player. When they're in the study lounge, it's going to be a volleyball player sitting next to a soccer player. When they're getting ready to go in the sleep pods, they'll be moving the coaches out of the way, and it will be a couple other athletes sharing in that community. And that's the great thing about this building, is it builds the already really strong community that our student athletes have. So to everyone, every one of you, everyone that was part of this, from the bottom of my heart, and I speak for all of us, thank you so much for your love and support, and go Friars.
Great job, Good job. Great job, Jimmy. He could be president, don't you think, huh? Good job, man. Proud of you. Listen, the next person I wanted to introduce, it's really difficult to put into words what he means to Providence College. I think Jim and Father already did a great job. I've known Mike for 17 years. Early in my career here, he talked me off the roof a couple of times when we weren't getting to where I thought we could go. But Mike had a vision for athletics that I don't think anybody else saw until perhaps Father Shanley came on board. And so for that, Mike, I'll always be indebted to you, the impact you've had on me personally as a mentor and my family. So thank you from the bottom of my heart on that. But, you know, Jim said it best that, you know, Mike can do things with his resources that he and Liz have generously given to us, but it's really the relationships. I know he calls Steve Knapp every day. He talks to Ed, he talks to me, he talks to Nate. I mean, that's what real coaching and mentorship really is. And we went to dinner about 2 weeks ago down in South County. We took over a URI spot and just kind of owned it. That was kind of fun, wasn't it? Matunic Oyster Bar. Now it's Friartown South. There was about 20 of us there from every different part of the college, and we drank a lot of wine. We had a lot of fun times. And then when you come to our conversations, you better have thick skin because everything's on the table. And we laughed the entire time. It was a great night. And I remember asking Liz, I said, Liz, why are you and Mike so generous to the college? And she said, Mike was the #2 student at his high school, which I can't believe. I would have said you were the #1 student. But she said he could have went to anywhere in the country, but Providence College and the Dominicans wanted him to become a friar and gave him a scholarship. And they said early on, when they didn't have a lot of resources and they're raising their children, that when they get the opportunity, they're going to give back to Providence College, and give back they have. They've impacted this campus in an amazing way, and as Jim said, not only does that impact our student athletes, but it impacts all of our lives. So how about a nice round of applause for Mike and Liz Ruane and their entire family. Coach.
Thank you, Bob. And I think we have covered most of the thank yous at this stage. And I just wanted to start by saying how much I appreciate everyone being here. It is a beautiful, beautiful day, And obviously, Bob and I go back and forth a lot about what's more effective, texting or just picking up the phone and calling. And it's pretty clear to me that Bob and Father Shanley, and maybe even Jim a little bit, didn't get the memo about this is not a sleepover, folks. But having said that, I also have to apologize to...
You got one chance.
Yeah, you know, I have to apologize on this beautiful sunny day to Ray Tracy, and I think most know Ray, who's one of the all-time greats, great cross-country coaches in the country, and has taken and has won national championships here. And they're at a meet today, but if he ever knew that I was on a podium on his track, he would come after me like there would be no tomorrow. So I apologize to Ray, to say the least. But I do want to, just on a couple comments, and I think many of you have heard me speak before, and I always go toward the end because my preparation is while I'm sitting, which has to be the case because Father Shanley and Bob, cover a lot of topics. But anyway, one point I think is very important is as we look at this building, what is a building? And a building is what Father said. It's about the people who make the building. But a lot of folks think that a building is an inanimate object, and it's not. A building lives and breathes every single day. And again, it's the people and what they use as they use the building as a tool to improve themselves as they go forward. That's the most important thing of any facility. And I think, we have a great track record, in particular with Father Shanley, of really seeing the buildings that we've built really become the people, who have made it and move it forward. So I think that's very important for everyone to understand. Another item that Bob and Father mentioned, and people have mentioned to me, and as they look at the facility, is this a dream come true? And as I thought about it, and again, I think Bob probably does think it's a dream come true. Father said it is. I kind of said, well, what is a dream? And basically, I look at this development center as a start of a dream. But a dream is very simply a start. It's a very, very small pillar of something more substantial. And that which is more substantial is a vision. And a vision has a plan, strategic, tactical, but it also has a focus to get executed. And that's what this team has done as we've gone forward. And I think very important. Another element of a vision is, how does a vision become successful? And I think it becomes successful in pretty simple ways. One is embracing hard work. And by embracing hard work, I mean enjoying the work. Secondly, it's about caring. And I think that's one of the things that we have always done well at Providence College. We care. We care about our alums. We care about our parents. We care about our students. We care about our professors. We care about our student athletes. It's their home, not only while they're here, but it continues to be their home as we go forward. And I think that's pretty unusual, but an important factor in being successful with respect to a vision. Also, I think passion is critical. This building would not have gotten done if it weren't for the passion of the members of the team that really came together to build this building. And don't ever underestimate passion. It's very, very critical as you go forward looking at vision. And then finally, I think really a very important item, and I do address this to a lot of the older folks who are here, because I still dream. I dream about how I am going to and what I'm going to accomplish over the next several years. I've dreamt many times. But again, it has to lead to a vision. But I think one of the key elements of success with respect to vision is teamwork. And as you as student athletes or students or anyone in the academic world go forward, if you're not looking at a vision with teamwork, you're looking at the vision as something that you can do on your own, I am telling you that you've not set a high enough goal for your vision. The only way to achieve outstanding results and goals with a vision is to look at your teammates and make it work in that way. And at that point, you will achieve beyond what you thought you were capable of achieving. And I think that's a message that supersedes age and also, again, profession. So, and then finally, you know, so where does this building, the Development Center, fit into the excellence of Providence College? And I think it fits in a couple ways. You know, from an overall point of view, I think it's a very, very small item that basically is causing us to perpetuate the Catholic and Dominican mission of the college. And again, I think that's very, very important as we built it and perpetuate it as we go forward. We always need to improve. But I think on a greater scale, it really is a tool again for the individuals in our constituency to basically achieve their visions. And again, I think that is improvement along the way. So again, I think this is a terrific building. I think Bob mentioned it, and I do thank Rich Gotham, by the way, for you know, taking our call and allowing us to go through the Celtic practice facility a couple 6 or 8 weeks ago. And again, I think we compared more than favorably well. But it really is something that is to be enjoyed, but it's just the beginning. It's another piece of a puzzle as we go forward. And with that, I do need I do need to acknowledge 2 people, at least I would like to, one of whom has probably suffered greatly over the last couple days, and that's Allison Rubin. Is Allison, where is Allison? Allison, great job. Yeah, she really is a one really. And, you know, Allison, I hope you get a chance to talk to some of my younger partners, and they will be able to relate to my calling you 3, 4, 5 times an hour to make sure the details were pinned down, only after I ignored the whole thing for months. But I really appreciate, Liz and I appreciate your involvement and the work that you did. And I would also like to just mention another person that I have high regard for, and I don't know him. And again, over the years at Providence College, you know, I've had the privilege of meeting and interacting with a number of the athletes, many of whom are world-class runners, many of whom are, you know, professional hockey players, soccer players, you know, as well as some of the basketball players, including some that Ed has. And it's been generally a very outstanding group of people, not only in terms of their graduation rates, but also, you know, with their character. But I do want to mention an individual who happens to be a hero of mine, and is here today and is on the basketball team and is a senior, and that's Emmett Holt. And Emmett has been the strength of the basketball team over the last couple years in terms of character, in terms of enthusiasm. As he was injured last year, literally every game that he was back at, he was in street clothes. By the way, he dresses beautifully. But boy, was he a motivator and an enthusiast, and just a key part of the strength and character of the team. And again, Emmett, good luck to the whole team this year, and I think some of the younger players who are really terrific. You are just a role model for them in terms of your character and where you're headed in the world. So we really, I wanted you to know that just because you deal with that every day, that we do appreciate you at Providence College, to say the least. So with that, again, thank you very much. And again, please enjoy the tour of the facility. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Great words. You know, it's hard to believe it was 7.5 years ago that Father Shanley and I hired Coach Cooley, and I can remember it like it was yesterday. It was a packed house, and I'd coached Ed up to say, Ed, here's what you do. You undersell and over-deliver, right? So he completely ignored what I had to say. And I remember the first words that came out of his mouth. He said, hey, season ticket holders, buy your tickets now because we're going to win, and we're going to win big. And if you're late, you can't come in. I was like, no, don't say that. We just come off one of the worst seasons, I think, in the history of Providence College. Now, here we are, 7 years later, Big East Championship. I got my ring on, right? Actually, we should have had 2 Big East champions. Kyron never got the foul in the last shot of the game down there, but that's another story. Almost got thrown out of Madison Square Garden. Five NCAA tournaments in a row, an all-time record, right? Every single one of the student athletes that finished their eligibility here graduated. Most important, right? Ed and Nerese have made a major gift in his mother's name for the second phase of the Development Center, a student center. So unbelievably generous. You don't see coaches do that. So thank you, Ed and Nerese, for doing that. And I think Jim said it. He's a great coach, but he's a better person. Father and I were at the Hall of Fame just recently where Doris was inducted, and there were all these great Hall of Famers walking around. And who do you think they wanted to talk to? Ed Cooley. How about a nice round of applause for the head coach of the Friars, Coach Ed Cooley.
Wow, there are a lot of thank yous. I didn't rip my pants. I'm touched. Hearing that about Emmett touches me. It really does. I'm sorry. Whew. Yeah, that was, thank you, Mike. I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me. Emmett and all those players, all of our players, they're the reason why we're here. You talked about dreaming. Man, everybody asks me how I'm living a dream every day, and I don't want anybody to wake me the hell up, ever. Don't wake me up. This dream is alive, and we've always had dreams. And this day, to me, is special for a lot of different reasons. It's one of the nicest days we've had all year. Many of you can be out golfing, helping Team USA try to win this Ryder Cup. I don't know where we are now in points. Anybody know? You're not doing your job. Not doing your job. But I want to thank and appreciate everyone for being out here. Mike and Liz, thank you. Your generosity is beyond thankable. And everybody who's here who didn't get thank you'd, please understand how important you are to us and what you've meant to Providence College and our community. To walk into that Dunkin' Donuts Center and to hear our competitors say, wow, there are a lot of jerks in your building, and man, I'd keep being those jerks, please. Please, we love it. We love being the most competitive place in the country to play at. But like Mike talked about, you have to have dreams, but more importantly, vision. And when we took the job here, you needed help. You needed a lot of help. And with all the accolades and all the applause, and we appreciate it, you can't do it without incredible support. And I want to thank our staff. Brian Blaney, who's been with me for 10 years. Jeff Battle is probably the reason I am a head coach, who, my pants about to split, who really gave me some inspiration. Jeff is on our staff. Ivan. Kevin has been probably one of the most inspirational hires we had here. He is Providence College. He knows the inner workings of it, and I think that was an important hire for us. Sue Gibbrey, who does everything for us. Nerese asked Sue what I'm doing, right? So thank you guys, and thank you to the entire support staff from Coach White, John Rock, who has graduated and went upstairs. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing yet either, by the way, right? But thank you guys. Father Shanley, Father Sicard, John Sweeney, Mark Raposa, who you've been incredible day to day. Smoke is still coming out your ears because there's something wrong in there and you're going to find it. Thank you guys for allowing us to live the dream of which we live. You know, I talk to Nate Lehman a lot, and Nate is kind of this quiet guy behind the scenes, but I look a lot what Nate has done here. and how he's built a championship culture. So, Nate, I don't know if you're here. I want to thank you for the conversations that we have and the program you've built. And we have a monster for a hockey program, and I really want to appreciate you, Nate. So thank you. Christine, thanks for coming here. I appreciate it. Give Billy a hug for us and tell him we appreciate your generosity and your philanthropy. It's going to help our young men and women. Good luck this year. I hope Oklahoma wins a championship. Tell Billy, don't call any timeouts. Just let the dudes hoop. Just let them play. They'll be a great job. Mary Beth, thank you. Joe, thank you. You guys are unbelievable in what you do for our program and what you do for student athletes. Everybody who's here, George and Karen Oliver, man, I can't tell you how much we appreciate what you guys have done. We didn't have our trip down to, we didn't go to the Cape this year, so you owe us a trip, all right? You owe us a free meal, of which we like. All right, we like, anybody here like free meals? I do. I love them. Free meals, and we don't want Kentucky Fried or Wendy's. We don't, all right? We'll take a nice hoagie sandwich or something. But this is a dream of ours, to have everybody out here like this in little small Providence. And let me tell you, on that national stage, I wear it on my sleeve, my forehead, on all the patches that I have on my head. I wear Providence, Rhode Island because I believe it. And not only will we win championships, we're going to win multiple championships, because that's what you have to believe. If you don't talk about it, how can you do it? Right? Everybody says, why do you put pressure on yourself? It's pressure anyway, right? It's pressure anyway, all right? I'm not up here because we're 1-27, I can tell you that, right? It's a bottom line business of which all y'all understand, but what we appreciate as a staff and as an organization is the belief you, the season ticket holders, have in us, you, the administration, have in us, all of our student athletes, all of our students here at Providence College. We are a family, and there's dysfunction in families. And we like to argue to come to a solution to make sure we get it right, because you don't get it right the first, second, or 100th time. It's the 101st time where you continue to just try. Try one more time. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Steve Napolillo and his crew. He does a great job. I don't know how he does it. He embarrasses you into giving him more money. He's always talking about somebody's hair, their body. He looks awful himself, right? But he is one of the most passionate Friar people that is in America as a Friar. Stevie Knapp, you and your crew deserve a round of applause. Thank you. Lastly, I want to thank our team. And this will be a challenging year. We lost a lot. We lost a ton. But I also think there's promise with our veterans that we have returning. Our young kids have steam coming out of their ears. They have no idea what they're doing right now. Right? They're going to walk around like they know what they're doing. Trust me, they're nervous. Now, because we have compliance issues, we can't tell you, but we have a lot of guests here that are prospective student athletes that should want to come to Providence College, because not are we good, we're great. We're great. All right? And this is what makes us great. Jill LaPointe, thank you for everything that you do. You always put things in our ear, and you always give me something to talk about. This is an incredible family. Thank you guys for everybody for coming out. I'm looking forward to having everybody here at the Dunk. My Advent group over there, Perkman Meets, thank you. They made this building special right here. Unbelievable. Give them a round of applause. Now, hey, for that plug, we want a 50% discount. All right, for the plug. Bob Driscoll plugged you 20 times, all right? Just went up to 75% discount, all right? Because we need some more in phase 2. So we need a nice donation from you guys. Can't be afraid to ask, right? And don't stop patting your shoulders like you don't have it. We know we paid you, right? Just put them all, just throw them right under the bus, right? It is us, it is we, it is together, it is a family, and we are the Friars. I love you guys. Thank you so much.
You guys ready to play? Every time Ed talks, I'm ready to play. I got to lay down and put my shoes on in the morning, but Ed, I'll give you a couple minutes anyway. Listen, despite what Mike says, we're still under an hour. If you get over an hour, it's a convention, but we're still on it. You got to hang with me for like 2 more minutes. Father has to bless the building. I have to tell you who's going where. So let me do some housekeeping first. So everybody on this side of the aisle will get your tour first. Everybody on this side of the aisle, go to lunch. All right? Say again, tour, lunch. Great. We'll screw it up, I know. Everybody will be crisscrossing. I want to close with a special thanks and appreciation to Joe and Sugar Calabria up front. Not only did they make the gift for the Calabria Hall of Champions, the Calabria lobby, but that beautiful statue, the Joe Mullaney and Dave Gavitt statue that's there, that was their gift as well. And I also want to recognize Joe Mullaney Jr. and his wife Kathy and his brother Tom Mullaney, who's here. We talked about Julie as well. Give them a nice round of applause. Your dad, I hope, is very, very proud. Thank you. Thank you very much. And to Joe and Sugar, God bless you. Thanks for everything you do. Joe has a grandson here in Friartown, so the legacy continues. Great haircut, by the day. I like that. We got a barber shop in there, too. We can trim that up if you need that. Come on. You good? Coach Cooley's 1 o'clock show in the tent, and this is the 50th anniversary of our men's soccer team. They play Xavier at 1 o'clock, so if you want to visit that as well. And without further ado, Father Shanley is going to bless this beautiful building. And then we're going to cut the ribbon.
I was having flashbacks to Madison Square Garden. I was in the same distance between Ed's butt in the garden last week, so when he was up here, I had an immediate flashback. It was kind of scary, actually. You know, one of the things that Ed often preaches to his team, and I've heard it on multiple occasions, is that if you haven't said thank you once a day, there's something wrong with you. And if somebody hasn't thanked you once a day, there's something wrong with you as well. And one of the things that I appreciate about Coach Cooley is the extraordinary sense of gratitude that he has for the blessings of his life. And there's a Dominican saint, Meister Eckhart, who said once that if the only prayer we ever muster in our lives is thank you, that will suffice. Our fundamental attitude towards God should be thank you for all the blessings that we have received. And today is a day to say thank you to God. And so as we conclude this, we put ourselves in the presence of God in a posture of deep gratitude for all the blessings that we have received, the people that are here, the generosity of our donors, the hard work of the workers, everybody that worked to put this beautiful thing together. And so we turn to God. Today we gather together to ask God's blessing upon this Ruane Friar Development Center. We ask the Lord that this facility might be a place where academic success, team building, conditioning, and wellness are promoted among all of our student athletes. We thank the Lord for the success that our athletic program has enjoyed and ask that this magnificent new center might propel our student athletes and coaches to continued success both on and off the court. In thanking God for all his blessings, it's also right to offer our thanks to Mike and Liz Ruane, through whose generosity and others so many blessings have come to Providence College. May the Lord bless them and all the other friends of the college whose gifts have made this day possible. May the Lord give them the reward of their goodness. And so we pray, Almighty and ever-living God, from whom all blessings flow, we give you thanks for this day on which we dedicate the Ruane Friar Development Center. You have guided this project since its inception and have brought this phase to its completion. We give you praise and thanks. Look with kindness and bestow your blessing upon all who have contributed to this project and share in the blessings of this day. Bless Mike and Liz and all who have sacrificed of themselves for this project. Bless the architects, the engineers, the contractors, and the laborers whose hands have built this facility. Bless our student athletes, their coaches, and all who have worked to make Providence College athletics such a credit to our institution and something of which we can be so proud. Lord, in your goodness, hear our prayers and send your blessing upon the Ruane Friar Development Center. Grant every good thing to those who will pass through its doors and make use of this facility. May they always be mindful of the contributions of those friars who have gone before them and whose legacy the building commemorates. May the student athletes of today and tomorrow honor their memory by constantly pursuing excellence on the court and in the classroom and in life. We make this prayer through our Lord Jesus Christ, your Son, who lives and reigns with you in the unity of the Holy Spirit, one God, forever and ever. No Catholic blessing is complete without holy water, so I'm going to walk over and throw some on the building. Nice job. Can you sharpen up? Cut the ribbon in? Cut the ribbon? Okay. Go, Mike. You went farther? We'll get you in. Eddie? Yeah, come on up, man. You do. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate you very much. Yeah, always good. Thank you, brother. Thank you. I can't let you go until you give me your best Go Friars. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Go Friars! I love it. You don't have to do it twice. This side, in. That side, lunch. Go Friars.